In the vast expanse of the galaxy, there was no force more feared than the Caliph Dominion. They were conquerors, explorers turned rulers, their empire stretching across star systems like a shadow cast by an endless eclipse. The Caliph had faced countless worlds, some barren and lifeless, others teeming with hostile creatures or advanced civilizations, and they had always emerged victorious. Their biomechanical bodies made them nearly indestructible, their weapons unmatched, and their strategies flawless. To many species, they were gods, to others, demons. But one thing was certain: resistance against them was futile. Commander Vera stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Ecliptica, staring at the swirling clouds of yet another conquered planet below. This world, like so many before it, had been reduced to submission within days. Its skies burned with the fires of orbital bombardment, its cities now silent ruins. Yet, despite the victory, Vera felt uneasy. It wasn't boredom. It couldn't be. She had spent centuries leading campaigns, crushing enemies, expanding the Dominion's reach. No, this feeling was different. It gnawed at her mind, whispering that something was missing. "Commander," said Trelk, her second in command, breaking her thoughts. His voice echoed through the metallic chamber, sharp and efficient as always. "The last resistance has been neutralized. Shall we begin terraforming?" Vera hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "Proceed. Prepare the next jump coordinates." Her gaze lingered on the dying planet below, but her unease only deepened. Another world fallen, another name added to the list of conquests. And yet, none of these victories brought satisfaction anymore. As the crew worked around her, Vera accessed the ship's long-range scanners, a habit she'd developed over time, to scan for anomalies, for anything unusual in the void of space. Most of the time, it yielded nothing. But today, something caught her attention. Faint signals, barely detectable, emanating from a distant blue-green orb. "Earth. What is this?" she murmured, zooming in on the readings. The planet seemed unremarkable at first glance, smaller than most targets, covered mostly in water, with primitive technology scattered across its surface. Yet those faint transmissions intrigued her. They weren't military broadcasts or automated distress calls. They were chaotic. Random bursts of communication, some musical, others filled with static and emotion. It was as if the planet itself were alive, speaking in a language she couldn't understand. Trelk approached cautiously, noticing her focus. "Commander, is something wrong?" "No," Vera replied, though her tone betrayed uncertainty. "But I want to investigate this world. Set a course for Earth." Trelk frowned. "Earth? It's not on our priority list. Why waste resources on such a minor target?" Vera turned to him, her golden eyes glowing faintly beneath the dim lights of the bridge. "Because it's different. Because it might teach us something new." Her words silenced Trelk. He knew better than to argue when Vera spoke with such conviction. Within hours, the Ecliptica and its fleet entered Earth's orbit, ready to claim another trophy for the Dominion. But as they descended closer, Vera felt it. A strange energy radiating from the planet. It wasn't fear, exactly. More like anticipation, as if Earth itself were waiting for them. Little did she know, this world would change everything. For her, for the Caliph, and perhaps for the entire galaxy. The Caliph fleet hovered silently above Earth, its massive ships casting ominous shadows over the planet's surface. Commander Vera watched from the bridge of the Ecliptica, her sharp eyes scanning the blue-green orb below. She had expected resistance, perhaps primitive weapons or desperate attempts at defense, but what she saw instead was chaos. Earth wasn't just a world. It was alive, unpredictable, and utterly foreign. "Deploy reconnaissance drones," Vera ordered, her voice calm but firm. "We need data before we act." Within moments, dozens of sleek metallic drones descended into Earth's atmosphere, their sensors scanning for signs of life, resources, and potential threats. The initial reports came back quickly: dense forests, sprawling cities, vast oceans teeming with aquatic life. But as the drones ventured deeper, something strange began to happen. One by one, they started disappearing. "What's happening?" Trelk asked, his tone laced with irritation as he monitored the drone feeds. On the main screen, static flickered where clear images should have been. Then came flashes of movement, too fast to identify, too erratic to track. A drone captured footage of a swarm of insects descending upon it, their tiny bodies tearing through its metal casing like paper. Another showed jagged vines wrapping around its frame, pulling it into the ground. And then there was silence. Vera frowned, leaning closer to the monitor. "This isn't normal behavior. These organisms, they're targeting our technology." Before she could analyze further, alarms blared across the ship. "Commander," shouted an officer from the communication station, "we're detecting incoming projectiles." On the tactical display, streaks of light shot up from Earth's surface toward the fleet. They weren't advanced plasma weapons or guided missiles. They were crude rockets and artillery shells, clearly designed by a species far behind the Caliph in terms of technology. Yet their sheer numbers overwhelmed the fleet's defensive systems. Explosions erupted around the ships, shaking the Ecliptica violently. "They're attacking us," Trelk exclaimed, gripping the edge of his console. "Should we retaliate?" "No," Vera said sharply. "Hold fire. This is not a coordinated assault. It's panic. They don't know who we are or why we're here." Her mind raced. Humans, as the scans had identified them, were acting out of fear, not strategy. Still, their actions were bold, almost reckless. It intrigued her. But the humans weren't done yet. As the fleet adjusted its position to avoid further damage, smaller craft, fighter jets and helicopters, swarmed toward them. Missiles streaked through the sky, some narrowly missing the Caliph ships. Others struck true, causing minor breaches in the outer hulls. For the first time in centuries, the Caliph suffered losses, not from superior enemies, but from sheer determination and brute force. "This is unacceptable," Trelk growled, slamming his fist on the console. "They're nothing but primitives. Let me obliterate them." "No," Vera repeated, her voice colder this time. "Destroying them won't solve anything. We need to understand them first." Her decision came none too soon. Just as the human forces regrouped for another wave of attacks, the planet itself seemed to rise against the invaders. Massive storms formed without warning, lightning striking several drones out of the sky. In one region, a volcanic eruption sent ash clouds billowing into the atmosphere, obscuring visibility. Even the wildlife turned hostile, with reports of large predators attacking any Caliph units that landed. By the end of the day, the fleet had retreated to high orbit, battered and confused. Vera stared at the glowing image of Earth on the main screen, her expression unreadable. This world was unlike anything they'd encountered before, a living, breathing entity that fought back with every fiber of its being. And somewhere deep inside, Vera felt a spark of fear, not for herself, but for what lay ahead. If Earth could resist the Caliph so fiercely, what other secrets did it hold? What other dangers awaited them? For the first time in her long career, Vera realized that conquering Earth might be impossible, and that thought terrified her more than she cared to admit. The Caliph fleet regrouped in orbit, licking their wounds and recalibrating their strategy. Commander Vera paced the bridge of the Ecliptica, her golden eyes narrowed as she replayed the events of the failed invasion attempt. Earth had proven itself to be far more than a primitive target. It was a living battlefield, unpredictable and relentless. The humans were aggressive, yes, but it was the planet itself that truly unnerved her. Every step they took seemed to awaken new dangers, as if Earth were alive and determined to drive them away. "We underestimated this world," Vera admitted aloud, though no one dared respond. Her officers exchanged uneasy glances, their usual confidence shaken by the unexpected resistance. "It's not just the humans we're fighting. It's everything." Trelk stepped forward hesitantly, his voice tinged with frustration. "Commander, we can't keep losing ships and drones like this. Our technology is being dismantled by insects, plants, even microscopic organisms. How do we fight something we can't even see?" Vera turned to him, her expression unreadable. "We adapt. We learn. If Earth wants to teach us fear, then let it. But we won't leave until we understand how it operates." With renewed determination, Vera ordered her crew to deploy a second wave of reconnaissance units, but this time, equipped with enhanced shielding and bioscanners, designed to analyze Earth's ecosystems in greater detail. She also instructed ground teams to land only in isolated areas, avoiding direct confrontation with humans for now. Their mission was clear: gather intelligence, identify weaknesses, and find a way to survive Earth's wrath. The first team touched down in a dense jungle, its humid air thick with the sounds of chirping insects and rustling leaves. At first glance, it seemed peaceful, a stark contrast to the chaos they'd encountered earlier. But within minutes, the team realized their mistake. Swarms of locusts descended upon them, their tiny mandibles chewing through the reinforced plating of their suits. The soldiers fired energy blasts into the swarm, but for every insect they killed, 10 more took its place. Panicked calls filled the comms as the team scrambled back to their shuttle, barely escaping with their lives. Meanwhile, another group landed near a coastal region, hoping to study the oceanic life forms. They deployed aquatic drones into the water, expecting to map the seabed and collect samples. Instead, the drones were ambushed by schools of razor-toothed fish that shredded their metal frames. Worse still, the saltwater corroded the drone circuits almost instantly, rendering them useless before they could transmit any data. Back on the Ecliptica, Vera listened to the reports with growing unease. Each failure brought new questions, and few answers. Why did Earth's creatures react so violently to their presence? Was it instinct, or something more deliberate? And what about the microscopic organisms that ate through their alloys as if they were made of sugar? Her thoughts were interrupted when one of the scientists approached her with startling news. "Commander," he said, holding up a holographic display, "we've detected traces of an unknown compound in Earth's atmosphere. It seems to accelerate biological processes, growth, reproduction, decay. Whatever it is, it's making everything here hyper-aggressive." Vera studied the data carefully, her mind racing. Could Earth's hostility be natural, or was it engineered? Was this planet truly defending itself, or had humanity somehow weaponized its environment against invaders? As she pondered these questions, a transmission came through from the surface. One of the ground teams had stumbled upon something extraordinary. Ruins buried deep beneath layers of vegetation. Ancient structures, covered in strange symbols and glowing faintly with an otherworldly light. The discovery sent a shiver down Vera's spine. If Earth held secrets older than humanity itself, then perhaps conquering it wasn't the answer. For the first time, Vera began to wonder if Earth wasn't just teaching them fear. It might also be offering them knowledge. Knowledge worth more than conquest. Commander Vera stared at the holographic display of Earth's surface, her mind racing with questions. The ancient ruins discovered by one of her ground teams had shifted her focus entirely. These structures, buried beneath layers of jungle and glowing faintly with an energy unlike anything the Caliph had encountered before, hinted at a deeper mystery. Could humanity's resilience be tied to these remnants of their past? Or was Earth itself hiding secrets far older than any civilization? But answers wouldn't come easily. Humanity continued to resist fiercely, launching guerrilla attacks against Caliph outposts and sabotaging supply lines. Vera knew that understanding humans would be key to unraveling Earth's enigma. And so, during a particularly brutal skirmish in a mountainous region, she made a bold decision: capture a human soldier alive. The operation was swift and precise. A squad of Caliph warriors surrounded a small group of human fighters who had ambushed one of their patrols. Most of the humans were killed or fled into the dense forest, but one remained, a tall, battle-worn man with piercing blue eyes and a face streaked with dirt and blood. He fought until he ran out of ammunition, then used his bare hands to take down 2 Caliph soldiers before being subdued. When the prisoner was brought aboard the Ecliptica, Vera wasted no time. She entered the interrogation chamber alone, leaving Trelk and the others outside. The human sat bound to a chair, his expression defiant despite his injuries. His name, they learned from his dog tags, was Captain Elias Kane. "You're brave," Vera began, her voice calm but commanding. "Few species would dare challenge us as you have." Elias glared at her, his jaw clenched. "Brave? No. Desperate? Yes. You think we'll just roll over and let you destroy our home?" Vera tilted her head slightly, intrigued. "Your weapons are primitive compared to ours. Your technology is centuries behind. Yet you fight like cornered beasts. Why?" Elias smirked bitterly. "Because this isn't just a planet to us. It's everything. Our families, our future, our survival. We don't give up. Not ever." Her golden eyes narrowed as she studied him. There was something about his defiance that resonated with her. In all her years of conquest, she'd faced fear, anger, and despair, but never such unwavering determination. Humans weren't just fighting for territory or resources. They were fighting for something intangible yet unbreakable. Hope. "Tell me about Earth," Vera said after a pause. "Why does it fight back so fiercely? What makes it different from every other world we've conquered?" Elias hesitated, surprised by the question. For a moment, he seemed unsure whether to answer. Then, with a sigh, he spoke. "Earth doesn't belong to anyone. Not even us. It's wild, untamed. Every creature, every plant. It fights to survive. That's what you're seeing. You stepped into a war zone where life itself is the enemy." Vera leaned closer, her curiosity piqued. "And the ruins? The symbols glowing beneath the surface. Do you know what they mean?" This time, Elias shook his head. "No idea. They're older than recorded history. Some say they're proof of civilizations that came before us. Others think they're warnings. All I know is, Earth doesn't forgive invaders." For hours, Vera questioned Elias, probing not just for information, but for insight into humanity's mindset. She learned about their adaptability, their creativity, their refusal to surrender even when hope seemed lost. Slowly, she began to see them not as mere obstacles, but as equals in a way, fragile yet indomitable. By the end of the interrogation, Elias looked at her differently too. Beneath her biomechanical exterior, he saw glimpses of doubt, curiosity, and perhaps even admiration. "You're not like the rest of your kind, are you?" he asked quietly. Vera didn't answer immediately. Instead, she turned to leave, her thoughts swirling. As the door slid shut behind her, she realized something profound. Conquering Earth might not be possible, not because of its defenses, but because of the people who called it home. For the first time, Vera wondered if domination was truly the only path forward, or if coexistence might hold the key to unlocking Earth's secrets. The stalemate between humanity and the Caliph stretched on, neither side able to claim victory. The humans had proven themselves resourceful and relentless, using Earth's chaotic terrain to their advantage. Meanwhile, the Caliph fleet remained locked in orbit, battered by storms, wildlife, and microscopic organisms that seemed intent on destroying their advanced technology. Both sides were bleeding resources, and the cost of continued conflict was becoming unsustainable. Commander Vera stood alone in her quarters aboard the Ecliptica, staring at the glowing image of Earth projected onto the wall. Her mind replayed Elias Kane's words during their interrogation. "Earth doesn't forgive invaders." She had dismissed it as bravado at first, but now she couldn't shake the feeling that he was right. Earth wasn't just resisting, it was punishing them. Every attempt to dominate this world had been met with overwhelming force, not from a single enemy, but from the planet itself. Trelk entered without knocking, his usual stoic demeanor replaced by frustration. "Commander, we can't keep losing ships and soldiers like this. Our forces are stretched thin, and High Command will demand results soon." Vera turned to face him, her expression calm but resolute. "Then perhaps it's time we tried something different. Fighting Earth hasn't worked. Maybe coexisting could." Trelk stared at her, incredulous. "Coexist? With these primitives? They've shown us nothing but hostility." And yet, Vera countered, "They've also shown courage, ingenuity, and an unyielding will to survive. If we continue down this path, both sides will be destroyed. Is that what you want?" Her words silenced Trelk, though his scowl deepened. He didn't argue further, knowing better than to challenge her authority. But Vera knew convincing the rest of the fleet, and humanity, wouldn't be easy. She called for a ceasefire, broadcasting a message to Earth's leaders through one of their communication satellites. It was brief and direct. "We wish to negotiate. No weapons, no tricks. Just talk." To her surprise, the response came quickly. A hesitant agreement to meet at a neutral location near the ruins discovered earlier. The meeting took place in a clearing surrounded by dense jungle. Vera arrived flanked by 2 warriors, their weapons holstered as a gesture of goodwill. On the other side stood Elias Kane, accompanied by a small group of human representatives, each carrying visible scars of battle. Tension hung thick in the humid air as the 2 groups faced off. "You have 5 minutes," Elias said, his voice firm but weary. "Make it count." Vera stepped forward, raising her hands in a sign of peace. "We underestimated your world and your people. Continuing this war benefits no one. We propose a temporary truce. Share your knowledge of Earth's ecosystems, and we'll provide medical aid, food supplies, and technology to help rebuild what we've damaged." The humans exchanged skeptical glances. One of them, a woman with short gray hair, spoke up. "Why should we trust you? You came here to conquer us." "Because conquest has failed," Vera admitted bluntly. "Your planet fights back in ways we cannot predict or control. Working together may be the only way for either of us to survive." After a tense silence, Elias nodded slowly. "Fine. A truce. But if you betray us, we'll make sure you regret it." Over the next few days, tentative cooperation began. Caliph medics treated wounded humans, while engineers worked alongside human scientists to repair damaged infrastructure. In return, humans shared data about Earth's weather patterns, wildlife behavior, and ancient ruins. Slowly, distrust gave way to cautious curiosity. For Vera, the truce offered more than survival. It opened a window into understanding humanity's resilience. For Elias, it revealed glimpses of vulnerability beneath the Caliph's invincible facade. Though neither side fully trusted the other, they found common ground in their shared struggle against Earth's unforgiving nature. As the sun set over the jungle, casting golden light across the ruins, Vera and Elias stood side by side, gazing at the glowing symbols etched into stone. "What do you think they mean?" Elias asked softly. "I don't know," Vera replied. "But maybe, together, we'll find out." For the first time since their arrival, hope flickered faintly amidst the chaos, a fragile flame that neither side dared extinguish. The truce between humanity and the Caliph deepened as both sides worked together to explore Earth's mysteries. The ancient ruins, buried beneath layers of jungle and time, became the focal point of their joint efforts. For Vera, these structures represented more than just relics. They were clues to understanding why Earth resisted so fiercely. For Elias and his team, they were a chance to uncover truths about their own history that had long been forgotten. The excavation site buzzed with activity. Human archaeologists brushed dirt from weathered stones, while Caliph drones scanned the area with advanced sensors. The glowing symbols etched into the ruins pulsed faintly, their light shifting in response to touch or sound. It was clear these markings weren't random. They formed patterns, almost like a language. but deciphering them proved maddeningly difficult. "This is unlike anything we've encountered," said Dr. Mara Lynn, one of the lead human scientists. She crouched beside a large stone slab covered in intricate carvings, her fingers tracing the grooves. These symbols seemed to correspond to natural elements: water, fire, earth, but also something else: energy, life force. Vera knelt beside her, studying the markings closely. "Our scans suggest these structures predate human civilization by millennia. Whoever built them understood Earth on a level we can barely comprehend." Elias approached, holding a tablet displaying thermal imaging data. "We found tunnels beneath the ruins. They stretch deep underground, branching out like roots. Whatever this place is, it's connected to the planet itself." The discovery sent a ripple of excitement and unease through the group. Exploring the tunnels would be risky. Earth's hostility hadn't diminished, and every step into its depths felt like venturing into the unknown. But curiosity outweighed caution. Together, Vera, Elias, and a small team descended into the labyrinthine passages, armed with lights, tools, and weapons. The air grew colder and heavier as they ventured deeper. The walls of the tunnel shimmered faintly, as if alive, and strange vibrations echoed around them. At one point, the ground trembled violently, forcing the group to take cover. When the shaking subsided, Vera noticed something unusual: a cluster of crystalline formations embedded in the rock. They pulsed with the same energy as the symbols above. "These crystals, they're emitting a signal," Trelk reported, scanning them with his device. "It's similar to the energy readings we detected in Earth's atmosphere, the compound accelerating biological processes." Vera reached out cautiously, her hand hovering over the crystals. As soon as her fingertips touched them, a surge of images flooded her mind. Vast forests teeming with life, oceans churning with storms, cities crumbling into dust. And then, a vision of Earth itself, not as a planet, but as a living entity, its core beating like a heart. She stumbled back, gasping for breath. "What happened?" Elias asked, rushing to steady her. "It's alive," Vera whispered, her voice trembling. "Earth isn't just a world. It's a consciousness. These ruins, they're part of its nervous system, its memory." The revelation stunned the group. If Earth was indeed sentient, then every attack on the Caliph wasn't random hostility. It was self-defense. Humanity's survival depended on coexisting with this ancient intelligence, not conquering it. As they continued exploring, Elias shared fragments of human mythology with Vera. Stories of Gaia, Mother Earth, and how ancient cultures believed the planet was alive and protective of its children. Vera listened intently, realizing that humanity had always known the truth, even if they couldn't prove it. But their exploration was cut short when the tunnels began collapsing around them. The crystals flared brightly, warning them to leave. The team scrambled back to the surface just as the entrance sealed itself behind them. Back at the ruins, Vera turned to Elias. "Your ancestors understood Earth better than we ever could. Maybe it's time we listen to what they've been trying to tell us all along." For the first time, both humans and Caliph saw themselves not as conquerors or defenders, but as guests on a planet that demanded respect. And somewhere deep within the ruins, Earth seemed to hum softly, as if acknowledging their newfound understanding. The fragile truce between humanity and the Caliph was beginning to bear fruit. Together, they had uncovered glimpses of Earth's ancient secrets, learning that the planet itself might be a living entity, an idea both awe-inspiring and humbling. But as Vera and Elias worked side by side, tensions simmered far beyond their shared efforts. News of their failure to conquer Earth had reached the Caliph High Command, and reinforcements were on the way. General Scyther arrived in orbit with a massive fleet, his flagship casting an ominous shadow over the planet below. Unlike Vera, who valued strategy and adaptability, Scyther was a brute, a warrior who believed in domination through sheer force. His reputation preceded him. Worlds burned under his command, civilizations wiped out without mercy. To him, Diplomacy was weakness, and coexistence was unthinkable. Commander Vera, Scyther's voice boomed across the communication channel, cold and commanding. You've disgraced the Dominion. Surrender your authority immediately. Vera clenched her fists but kept her tone steady. General, I assure you, this mission requires subtlety. Earth is unlike any world we've encountered before. Force alone will not work here. Scyther sneered, his holographic image flickering on the bridge of the Eclipta. Subtlety. You waste time negotiating with primitives while our resources dwindle. Stand aside, or I will remove you myself. Before Vera could respond, alarms blared throughout the ship. Scyther's fleet began deploying experimental weapons, devices designed to terraform planets instantly, stripping them of their natural defenses and rendering them subservient to Caliph control. Massive beams of energy lanced down from the sky, targeting Earth's cities, forests, and oceans. The ground shook violently as entire ecosystems collapsed under the assault. Elias watched in horror from the ruins as fire rained from above. He turned to Vera, betrayal flashing in his eyes. You said you wanted peace. Was this all a lie? No, Vera shouted, her golden eyes blazing with fury. I didn't call for this. Scyther has gone rogue. He doesn't care about understanding Earth. He only wants destruction. Elias hesitated, torn between anger and trust. In the end, he nodded sharply. Then prove it. Help us stop him. Vera made her decision in an instant. Turning to Trelk, she ordered, prepare the fleet for combat. We're taking back control. Trelk stared at her, shocked. Commander, you can't mean to fight our own kind. I do, Vera replied, her voice unwavering. If we don't stand against Scyther, everything we've learned here will be lost, including any chance for survival. The battle erupted in Earth's orbit, a chaotic clash of biomechanical ships firing plasma blasts and energy beams. Vera led her forces with precision, targeting Scyther's flagship while avoiding unnecessary casualties among her former comrades. Meanwhile, Elias coordinated human resistance efforts on the ground, using guerrilla tactics to sabotage Scyther's terraforming devices. As the conflict raged, Earth itself seemed to rise in defiance. Storms intensified, swallowing whole squadrons of drones. Volcanoes erupted beneath Scyther's landing sites, burying his troops in molten rock. Even the wildlife joined the fight, swarming Caliph units with renewed ferocity. In the heat of battle, Vera confronted Scyther aboard his flagship. Their duel was fierce, blades of light clashing as they fought for the future of Earth and the soul of the Caliph Dominion. Finally, with a desperate strike, Vera disarmed Scyther, pinning him to the ground. This isn't conquest, she growled, her voice low and dangerous. This is extinction, and I won't let you destroy what little hope we have left. Defeated, Scyther spat at her feet. You'll regret this, traitor. But Vera stood tall, her resolve unshaken. As she returned to the Ecliptica, she found Elias waiting for her. It's not over yet, he said grimly. But we've bought ourselves some time. Together, they looked down at Earth, battered but still alive. For now, the planet and its defenders had survived another day. The battle against General Scyther's forces had left Earth scared but unbroken. Vera's decision to side with humanity marked a turning point, not just for the Caliph, but for the planet itself. As Scyther's flagship plummeted into the Pacific Ocean, swallowed by the very storms it sought to control, Earth seemed to respond with a vengeance. The planet unleashed its full fury, as if acknowledging the betrayal of one faction while rewarding the alliance of another. Massive hurricanes swept across continents, tearing apart what remained of Scyther's terraforming devices. Volcanic eruptions erupted in regions previously dormant, spewing ash and lava that consumed entire Caliph outposts. Even the oceans rose in defiance, tsunamis crashing against coastal cities where remnants of Scyther's troops had taken refuge. It was as though Earth had awakened, channeling its energy into protecting itself. and those who fought alongside it. On the bridge of the Ecliptica, Vera watched the chaos unfold with a mix of awe and dread. Earth isn't just defending itself anymore, she murmured, her voice tinged with both fear and respect. It's retaliating. Elias stood beside her, his face grim but determined. This is what happens when you push too far. Earth doesn't forgive. Frelk approached cautiously, his usual arrogance replaced by unease. Commander, our losses are mounting. If we don't act soon, there won't be anything left to save. Not for us, not for them. Vera turned to him, her golden eyes glowing faintly. Then we act. But not with weapons, with knowledge. She ordered her crew to analyze the data collected from the ancient ruins and the crystalline formations beneath the surface. The symbols etched into the stones pulsed brighter than ever, responding to Earth's upheaval. Dr. Marilyn, the human scientist, worked tirelessly alongside Caliph technicians, deciphering patterns and connections. Slowly, they pieced together a theory. Earth's consciousness wasn't just alive. It could be communicated with. We need to activate the ruins, Vera declared. They're not just relics, they're conduits. If we can send a signal through them, maybe we can calm Earth down. Elias frowned, skeptical. And if we're wrong? What if this makes things worse? We don't have a choice, Vera replied firmly. If we do nothing, everyone dies, including Earth itself. With no time to waste, Vera led a team back to the ruins. The journey was perilous, the ground shaking violently beneath their feet as they navigated collapsing tunnels and raging storms. When they reached the heart of the structure, they found the crystalline formations glowing brighter than ever, their energy almost unbearable. Now or never, Elias said, gripping a handheld device rigged to interface with the crystals. Vera placed her hands on the largest formation, closing her eyes as she focused on the connection she'd felt before. Images flooded her mind again. Forests regenerating, oceans calming, skies clearing. She willed these visions outward, projecting them into the crystals. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the ground trembled violently, and a low hum resonated through the ruins. The glowing symbols flared brightly, sending waves of light rippling outward like ripples in water. Above ground, the storms began to subside. Hurricanes weakened, volcanoes quieted, and the seas receded. Back at the excavation site, humans and Caliph alike watched in stunned silence as Earth's rage gave way to peace. The air grew still, the clouds parting to reveal sunlight streaming down onto the battered landscape. It worked, Dr. Lin whispered, tears streaming down her face. We actually did it. Vera stepped back from the crystals, exhaustion etched across her features. Not alone. Together. As the dust settled, both species realized the cost of survival. Entire regions of Earth lay devastated, millions displaced or lost. Yet amidst the destruction, hope flickered anew. Humanity and the Caliph had faced Earth's wrath and emerged united. For the first time, Vera understood that conquering wasn't strength. True power lay in coexistence, in listening to the world instead of dominating it. And Elias knew that even the fiercest battles could lead to unexpected alliances. Together, they gazed at the horizon, knowing the road ahead would be long, but also believing that rebuilding was possible. Earth had taught them fear, but it had also shown them resilience. The aftermath of Earth's wrath left scars that stretched across continents. Cities lay in ruins, forests were reduced to ash, and oceans churned with debris. Millions of humans had been displaced, their homes destroyed by both the Caliph invasion and Earth's retaliatory fury. Yet, amidst the devastation, there was a fragile sense of unity. Humanity and the Caliph, once bitter enemies, now stood side by side, bound by shared loss and a common goal: survival. Commander Vera took charge of the recovery efforts, directing her remaining fleet to assist humanity in rebuilding what had been lost. Ships descended from orbit, not as conquerors but as aid vessels, delivering food, medical supplies, and advanced technology, to devastated regions. Caliph engineers worked alongside human construction teams, repairing infrastructure and restoring power grids. For many humans, seeing their former invaders helping rebuild felt surreal, but necessary. Elias Kane played a key role in bridging the gap between the two species. As a trusted leader among humans and an ally to Vera, he became the voice of cooperation. He traveled to refugee camps, speaking to survivors who had lost everything. "They're not our enemies anymore," Elias told them, his tone firm yet compassionate. "They're here to help us heal. And together, we can make Earth whole again." But trust didn't come easily. Some humans refused to accept Caliph assistance, viewing it as another form of control. Protests erupted in several cities, with angry crowds demanding the aliens leave Earth entirely. Vera addressed these concerns directly, appearing on global broadcasts to speak openly about her transformation, from a commander bent on conquest to someone seeking redemption. "We made mistakes," Vera admitted, her golden eyes meeting the camera lens unflinchingly. "We underestimated your strength and Earth's resilience, but we've learned from those errors. If you'll allow us, we want to stand with you, not as rulers, but as partners." Her words resonated with many, especially when backed by tangible actions. Caliph medics used their advanced healing technologies to treat wounded humans, saving countless lives. Their drones cleared rubble and planted new trees in areas ravaged by war and natural disasters. Slowly, skepticism gave way to cautious acceptance. Meanwhile, Vera continued studying Earth's ancient ruins, determined to understand how to prevent such destruction in the future. With Dr. Marilyn's help, she discovered that the crystalline formations beneath the surface could stabilize Earth's energy if properly maintained. By activating smaller nodes scattered around the globe, they hoped to create a network that would soothe the planet's volatile nature. "This isn't just about fixing what's broken," Vera explained to Elias one evening as they oversaw the activation of a node near the ruins. "It's about finding balance between life, technology, and the forces of this world." Elias nodded, gazing at the glowing crystal embedded in the earth. "Balance is something humans haven't always been good at. Maybe you can teach us too." Their partnership deepened as they worked together, each learning from the other. Vera marveled at humanity's creativity and adaptability, traits she realized the Caliph had long abandoned in favor of brute efficiency. In turn, Elias came to admire Vera's determination to change, not just herself, but her entire species. As weeks turned into months, signs of progress emerged. New crops grew in fields once thought barren, thanks to Caliph agricultural techniques combined with traditional farming methods. Refugees began returning to rebuilt towns, their spirits lifted by the sight of collaboration between former foes. Even Earth seemed calmer, its storms less frequent, and its wildlife less hostile. One night, under a sky filled with stars, Vera and Elias stood atop a hill overlooking the newly restored village. The hum of machinery mixed with laughter and music as humans and Caliph celebrated their shared achievements. "You know," Elias said, breaking the silence, "I never thought I'd see this day. Us working together, building something instead of tearing it apart." Vera smiled faintly, her gaze fixed on the horizon. "Neither did I. But perhaps this is where we were meant to be all along." For the first time in centuries, hope burned brighter than fear, for humanity, for the Caliph, and for the living world they now called home. Years passed, and Earth began to heal. The scars of war faded beneath a tapestry of green forests, thriving cities, and calm seas. Humanity and the Caliph had forged an unlikely alliance, transforming devastation into renewal. What started as a fragile truce evolved into something deeper, a partnership built on mutual respect, shared knowledge, and a commitment to coexist with the planet they both called home. Commander Vera remained on Earth, serving as an ambassador between the two species. Her presence was no longer met with hostility, but with gratitude. She walked among humans, learning their customs, sharing stories of her own journey from conqueror to protector. To many, she became a symbol of redemption, a reminder that even those who once sought destruction could choose a different path. Elias Kane, now older and grayer, dedicated his life to fostering peace between humanity and the Caliph. Together with Vera, he established the Gaia Accord, a global initiative aimed at preserving Earth's ecosystems while integrating advanced technology responsibly. The Accord ensured that neither species would exploit the planet's resources recklessly again. Instead, they worked in harmony, using science and tradition to create sustainable solutions. The ancient ruins played a central role in this new era. Under Vera's guidance, the crystalline network expanded, stabilizing Earth's energy and preventing future upheavals. These structures became sacred sites, revered by both humans and Caliph as reminders of the planet's power and its capacity for forgiveness. Pilgrims traveled from across the globe to visit them, leaving offerings of flowers, stones, or prayers. For the Caliph, Earth marked the beginning of a cultural revolution. Inspired by humanity's resilience and creativity, they abandoned their imperial ambitions. Ships that once carried weapons now transported scientists, artists, and diplomats. Entire colonies were dismantled, their inhabitants returning to explore worlds not as conquerors but as explorers. Vera often spoke of Earth as a teacher, one that had shown her people the value of humility and adaptation. As for humanity, they emerged stronger than ever. The trials they endured united nations in ways no conflict before had achieved. Borders blurred as communities focused on rebuilding and innovation. Advances in medicine, energy, and agriculture, born from collaboration with the Caliph, improved lives worldwide. Yet, humanity never forgot its roots. Stories of courage, sacrifice, and survival were passed down through generations, ensuring that the lessons of the past would guide the future. One evening, under a sky painted orange and pink by the setting sun, Vera and Elias stood together atop a hill overlooking a bustling city. Below them, humans and Caliph worked side by side, constructing buildings powered by renewable energy, planting trees in parks, and laughing over shared meals. Children of both species played together, their laughter echoing in the cool breeze. "You did it," Elias said softly, breaking the silence. "You changed everything." Vera shook her head, a small smile tugging at her lips. "Not me. Us. This world taught us all how to be better." Elias nodded, his gaze drifting toward the horizon. "And now, what's next?" Vera turned to him, her golden eyes reflecting the fading light. "Now we look to the stars. There are other worlds out there, other challenges waiting. But this time, we face them together, not as invaders or defenders, but as explorers ready to learn." As night fell, the first stars appeared in the sky, twinkling like promises of hope. Somewhere in the distance, the hum of the crystalline network resonated faintly, a gentle reminder of Earth's enduring spirit. For the first time in history, humanity and the Caliph stood united, not just as survivors, but as pioneers. Earth had taught them fear, yes, but it had also given them hope. And with that hope, they stepped forward into the unknown, ready to write a new chapter in the story of life among the stars.